So this post will be examining the cave story by Plato. I think the main Plato uh, thesis that was trying to describe in the story was the idea of knowledge production and reality, sort of the metaphysical question of what is the real and so how we and the epistemology question of so how do we know what is real. The first interesting part to note is how Plato actually starts the story, and it is these prisoners who were there for their entire lives. So that's mean they were born into this so-called reality of one way of seeing the truth, and it is basically the only truth, and they see is basically the shadow in the wall. So the shadow of the wall is the only reality that they know. So therefore, they take that to be their truth. Um, and the other interesting part is that the shadow on the wall is a secondary. It's like a second form of the first form. And if you take the concept of the people that walk across the on the pathway that the shadows are created by, they are the perfect form um, of the perfect form, and their second form is basically the shadows on the wall that they create. And to the prisoners, they think that the shadow itself is the perfect form. Right here, Plato is sort of making the distinction right here of that in our reality, um, because we are so-called the prisoners in the story, that in our reality we only see what we think to be our truths in our reality is not the truth. It's not the perfect form. It is not the complete reality. It's not the complete truth. It is just a backdrop of the perfect form. I think the best example I could give you is that imagine the perfect chair, right? You might think it comes from IKEA or Walmart or in those magazines, but it's not. Any chair that we make in our reality, to Plato, it's never the perfect form. It is just a backdrop. It is one like 98% of the perfect form. The 100% of the perfect form of the perfect chair exists externally to ourselves, and I think that is what he was trying to get us to understand about what our reality is, um, in a sense. Then the other thing is that when the prisoner is actually taken out of the cave and he sees reality, that is essentially it's when one of our humans achieves so-called enlightenment and sees the perfect form. Even if he is able to come back from that perfect form reality and tries to explain to us what the paper form is, what is the so-called truth and the so-called reality, um, we won't get it because we exist. We have never seen it for ourselves, right? We were still stuck, and the only way we see or come to know knowledge and reality is by looking at the wall. So there is no way that someone who has achieved enlightenment can come and explain to us what the real and what the truth is. And the interesting thing that I think Plato was trying to ascribe basically to his reader is to criticize how knowledge itself and the way we come to understand knowledge. It's sort of the epistemology question of how do we know what we come to know. It's basically Plato is like the notions of what we know in terms of this course of women's studies. It's like, so how do we know where the concept of gender comes from? Uh, what we come to understand about women right now and men right now are just backdrops of the complete universal idea that is external to us, and we can never really understand that because the perfect idea and the perfect reality of women, men, queer thoughts are external to ourselves. So there is no way for us to even comprehend the complete truth of what is inscribed to us. So I think that Plato's allegory of the cave was the reason the professor made us read that first in this course is to start of give us a starting point to where we should open our eyes to um, it warrants the basically she made us read it because it warrants and it sparks our thoughts of where reality and truth and notions of a specific topic such as what does it mean to be a male or a man or people in between or people who share both identities, it sort of sparks the idea of we should be open-minded and that we should be able to try to understand what it is that sort of separates them. But on the same side, we should also note that we can really never understand the truth.